Adventure Time is a lot of people's favorite Cartoon Network show of all time, but a lot of people also hate it. Now, I personally haven't seen Adventure Time ever before, so I thought it'd be a good idea to watch every single episode and review each season to see if Adventure Time really is a masterpiece. And 10 seasons, 278 episodes, and one stolen intro later, let's talk about it. Season 1 of Adventure Time is immediately not what most reviewers describe it as. Reviews for this first season are either saying the show is absolute perfection or complete garbage, and to be honest, it's neither of those options. These episodes are fun with great animation. Finn and Jake have an amazing dynamic, but a lot of the characters aren't as good as they will be. The comedy can get repetitive and obnoxious at times, and overall just not on par with what's to come. Although you do see a lot of other great shows that just use the first season to catch their footing, which is why it's not really a big problem here. Overall, to summarize, this season isn't a masterpiece or peak television. It's just a fun series of adventures that uses fantasy elements well, and has simple but occasionally meaningful stories. When it comes to the plot of this season, it's pretty bare bones, just setting up the world of Ooo, which we'll learn more about in later seasons. Now let's get on to the worst and best episodes of this season.
When I get into heaven, God hand me a blunt, and it's some runs.
The worst episode has to be the first. This is honestly a good thing and demonstrates how the show can improve. Pacing is a major issue in this episode, but overall, solid. 6.5 out of 10. The best episode by far is The City of Thieves. The colors and style for the city is just so good, and this idea fits so well in Adventure Time. There are no real weak points to this episode. 8 out of 10. With the season as a whole, the consistent quality is good. The flaws are pacing issues and the action is inconsistent and can at sometimes be really bad. But this season gets a solid score of 7 out of 10. Season 2, this is where a bunch of characters start to get a lot more depth. Marceline's personal side plot with her father is introduced along with the Nightosphere, but the most important thing introduced in the season by far has to be the Lich. It was referenced in Season 1, but this is its formal introduction as a big bad. Back onto the character side of things though, every character has improved at least somewhat from the previous season. The writing is also starting to get better, and the actual story starts coming together. One more thing to note is the pacing and comedy improving. The action has become a bit better, but it's still incredibly inconsistent. Other than that, there's really not much else notable happening. Now let's talk about the worst and best episodes from Season 2.
Made a moonbeam, can't say I pursue dreams cause I don't sleep.
The worst episode is by far Slow Love. It's not a very good plot, isn't as funny, and just overall the worst episode so far in the entire show. 5 out of 10. This season, despite having a bad low, has a really great high with It Came from the Nightosphere. This episode has great character development, colors, action, and Marceline's dad as a villain is just so good. 9 out of 10. Season 2 gets a 7.5 out of 10. An improvement to be sure, but still no masterpiece. Season 3.
This is where the fun begins.
Here's where I'd consider the beginning of Adventure Time's real prime. The story starts to really get going with the Christmas two-parter, Holly Jolly Secrets, where Ice King's origins and the Mushroom Wars are revealed. Now, not just for this episode, but for Adventure Time as a whole, the lore slowly unravels as the seasons go on, which is something Cartoon Network does a lot, but once again, it really works well. The action has finally gained some consistency, all the characters are really fleshed out, the comedy has matured, and one slow change I think is a major improvement is the overall tone of the show. What used to be fart jokes and dumb humor has now turned into surreal, dream-like stories at times.
As we go on.
An episode that I think demonstrates this well is also my personal favorite episode of the entire season, Memory of a Memory. The entire premise of Finn and Jake going through Marceline's memories is a very creative way to start and lay out Marceline's past. But the most important thing that makes this episode great is the soundtrack. Holy shit, the soundtrack in this one hits different. It can go from adventurous to unnerving so quickly and so fluidly, it's just perfection. I think this episode made me realize just how good the music in Adventure Time in general really is. Not just the songs, but the background music too. 9 out of 10. When it comes to my least favorite episode, don't really have one. Well-rounded season. 8.5 out of 10. Now we are really getting close to masterpiece territory. Maybe I was wrong? Season 4. Bro, I swear this season has the highest highs and the lowest lows. Watching it back to back is whiplash straight to my thick ass skull. One moment I'm enjoying one of the best episodes of the entire show. The next moment I'm watching one of the worst. The story is now one of the main focuses rather than something happening in the background, which I feel is a good decision and is a nice change. But it's overall super hard to rate this season because of how inconsistent the episodes are. One thing I think carries this season is Ice King. The character development he got is just crazy, and now I view him as honestly my favorite character in the entire show.
As our lives change from whatever.
The worst episode is pretty hard to decide with 3 main contenders: Web Weirdos, Dream of Love, and Gotcha. Out of these though, I think the worst is Dream of Love. The comedy just doesn't exist, the songs aren't memorable, the pacing is weirdly too fast and slow at the same time, the plot in the first place just doesn't feel like Adventure Time, and a lot of things here just irritate me. 3.5 out of 10, and the first unwatchable episode of Adventure Time, in my opinion, of course. Best episode, as you could have guessed, features the Ice King. I Remember You is a ton of people's favorite episode of the entire show. IMDb ranks it as its second best, and this one hits so hard. The comedy hits different. The song is just an absolute banger. If I really wanted to, I could write a whole video essay on this episode alone. But I gotta keep this video short and summarized, so 9.5 out of 10, and overall the season gets an 8 out of 10, carried by a handful of stellar episodes. Season 5 is the most consistently good season so far, and is the complete opposite to Season 4. It's funny, has good action, good animation, blah blah blah. What this season is most remembered for is the lore. The Lich episodes kick off the season in a really top-notch way, but they are immediately outshone by the Ice King backstory episodes, Betty and Simon and Marcy, with the latter being my favorite episode of the entire season and a damn near perfect 12 minutes.
I can teach that bitch my language like Rosetta Stone. Yeah.
The characterization of Simon is tragic when combined with the information we know now and later in the season. The episode also shows how Adventure Time can tackle darker subjects like nuclear fallout. The season was making poop jokes 2 episodes ago. What the hell is happening? Again, video essay worthy, but again, I gotta keep these reviews quick and simple, and this is the first 10 out of 10 in Adventure Time. And I honestly, for the first time since Season 3, pretty much like every episode. If I had to pick one, it would be Love Games, just because it's filler and not funny filler at that. 6 out of 10. For the season as a whole, it's a step up from Season 4, to be sure, and a big step up at that, but I don't think it's quite masterpiece worthy. 9 out of 10. We are now halfway done reviewing every single season of Adventure Time. Here's a tier list of each season so far, but now I want to explain why I'm splitting this into 2 parts. I got sick, and it really delayed the progress of this video, and you can probably still hear it in my recording right now. All that being said, make sure to like, subscribe, share this with your friends if they think they'll enjoy it too, and have a wonderful day, my friends.